We will begin with just sort of an overview discussion, which will include some strategy stuff. And then we essentially will break the technology components down into three modules of varying length. The first one being very focused on InfoPath, and then moving into one of the newer options, which is Access 2013 form services. And then last but not least, for the last part of the session, we will talk about some of the latest and greatest developments in SharePoint Forms, which is really around the new cloud app model and some of the tools related to that. So that's kind of at a high level our agenda. Some of the objectives and takeaways that I would like you guys to get out of this this class are, first of all, SharePoint 2013 offers some new options for enterprise forms. I'm going with the assumption for now that many of you have had some experience with InfoPath, and we will be spending some time on InfoPath. So even if you don't have any experience there, don't worry, we'll try and catch you up. But SharePoint 2013 does introduce some new options, and that is, depending on your perspective, both good and bad. It's good, obviously, to have choices. It is challenging at times, though, to make those tough decisions on which route you go down, and there are certainly trade-offs that must be considered, and those trade-offs are both of technical nature and from a business side. So hopefully, if nothing else, after the course, you will certainly be able to articulate the benefits and the downsides to the potential options and the trade-offs associated with those. That's one of my primary goals for this course. I know there's a lot of sort of discussion out in the social media world about what we're doing with Forms and InfoPath and whatnot. So hopefully we'll clear that up. Second major objective, we want to make it very clear that current investments in InfoPath are still fully supported in SharePoint 2013. Now, this particular point I'll reiterate a few times throughout the day, but this has been a point of confusion, and we being Microsoft fully accept the blame for that, because we haven't necessarily done a great job of communicating much about InfoPath 2013, and I'll talk more about that later. But it is safe to say that current investments in InfoPath are fully supported. The product has not been deprecated, as I've seen rumored on the internet. It is still fully supported. We have not made any announcements about end of life of InfoPath or anything like that. That said, InfoPath is a product that's been around for a while, and there are trade-offs if you continue to use it for forms in SharePoint 2013, and we will get into those decision points and the ups and downs of InfoPath as we get into that module. The third primary objective is that I really want you guys to understand that there is an interesting new option that does not require coding skills for forms in SharePoint, and that is using Access 2013 and the associated server-side technology Access Services in SharePoint. Now, if you've used Access in the past, or if you've used Access Services even in prior versions of SharePoint, you sort of almost need to forget about what you know about those products, because what we have in SharePoint 2013 with Access is quite different, quite new, quite exciting, and we have made some pretty big investments in Access as a application tool, and for forms and other things in SharePoint. And we are going to continue to make investments in Access moving forward. Now, that said, it's not a one-to-one replacement for InfoPath. It does not do everything that InfoPath does. You'll see when we get into the demonstration some of the differences, and I'll hopefully articulate what the potential trade-offs are both ways, but it's important that you understand that it is an option now. And then last but not least, for developers, for highly customized forms that sort of go beyond the capabilities of the no-code solutions like InfoPath and Access, SharePoint 2013 introduces some really great new capabilities for folks to write and build forms that are primarily HTML5 based. And there are lots of benefits associated with that in the new cloud app model, which I will discuss later. And that option is now a very valid choice, because the skill set and the tool set to build these kinds of forms in SharePoint is significantly improved in this version, to the point where a traditional web developer who may not be a SharePoint coding expert can build some very compelling forms with the tools available in SharePoint 2013. So those are the objectives and takeaways for the class, and those hopefully should line up pretty closely with the information you received prior to coming.